Hello, everybody, and welcome to once again the kind of video I don't like to make. This was already in the plans, but not for like this soon. I wasn't planning on starting to do this until June, July, somewhere around there. Um, but this is definitely going to be the last announcement video for a while. I will get into it, but that's why it says until further notice instead of an actual date. I thought about putting, December of this year, but I'll be honest, I think this is going to extend beyond this year, and I didn't want to put a date and then have to make another video in December being like, lol, guess what? Things are going to be like this for longer. The main topics for today, of course, is my job hunting is starting earlier than planned. It's going to be starting, I have here in early April, but I may put in a few applications, toward the end of this month just to really get that ball rolling. This will, of course, set off a cascade of changes for the stream, specifically the streaming schedule and how frequently I'll be able to, you know, be on. I have a general timetable, a general idea of how that's going to go, and I just kind of want to share that with you today. And there's also going to be a slight change in the games I'll be playing during this period. Generally, it's going to be the same games, but I'll get into that when I get into that. So, what are these changes going to be? Well, getting a second job is going to obviously cause some changes. I do want to stress that none of these changes will begin to take effect until after I get the job. While I'm hunting, I am generally going to try to maintain the schedule. I've recently decided, to start streaming 4 days a week instead of three. That will remain true until I get a job. After I get a second job, I keep saying a second job. It is entirely possible it may be a full time job that replaces the part time job I currently have. But I'm aiming for a second part time job just because I don't want to return to, the office life or worse, get a factory job. And that's generally the two kind of full time jobs there are around here. So that's why that's why I'll be saying a second job throughout the video, but it may be a full time job and I'll just have one job and I'll only be streaming in the evenings or something. But in any event, when I get a second job, the channel will go on a bit of a hiatus. I have in here it's going to be 2 to 3 weeks, but it may only be like a week or two. I'm not sure. I have an idea of how I'll be tackling streaming after I get that second job, but it's going to depend, partially on energy levels and partially just on what the schedule for the second job is going to be as it relates to the job I currently have. After that brief hiatus, streaming will resume, but obviously with no set schedule. And I do want to stress here that depending on the general time of day or night I'll be working this second job, it's going to greatly affect the time of day that I will be able to stream. Like I said here, streaming may not be limited to the usual time. There is a possibility that the new job will completely stop streams at the usual time, and I'll only be able to stream, like toward the evening or the afternoon or something. I really can't promise one way or the other. It just depends on, the circumstances of the new job. But I'm hoping I'll still be able to stream some mornings, and then I'll just have to stream some evenings to try to maintain a minimum activity for ValphiasTV, like a minimum number of streams a week or something. But again, this is entirely dependent on, when, the new schedule for my work and all of that. And yes, I am reduced to using free clip art for this. I didn't have like an appropriate image, and I didn't want to just use dollar signs or something. So I hope that's interesting. Uh, anyway, as for the slightly changed plans as far as the game's gonna be playing, yes, that's a lot of text. I didn't want to have to make another slide. Please bear with me. Like I said earlier, I will be moving up to 4 days a week until I get the second job, and the schedule collapses. As you can see on the right there, the order of games is largely unchanged. Um, For the most part, I will be moving from game to game as I finish them. So, after Zelda Breath of the Wild will be Bastion, and then after I'm done with that, it'll be Transistor, etc., etc. Things get a bit weird starting with Hades, and that's just because of a few things. Like you can see the text on the right. I'll be going through it, but once I'm done with Pyre, I will be picking Hades 1 back up, and that is strictly to finish the end game content. I think at this point the only real thing to do is collect the Skelly statues, or at least the Skelly gifts. I'm assuming all of them are Skelly statues, but I don't know for sure. I have already unlocked one of three, and the way to unlock those is just to do increasingly difficult runs by raising the heat level in, I think it was called the Pact of Punishment. Over the course of that, I'll probably also be unlocking the final aspects of the weapons that I didn't do, back in, I think it was December when I was wrapping all that stuff up. Um, Hades 2, I will be starting when they release the 1.0 patch. I'll be revisiting that when they release 1.0 and the game's not in early access, just so I can, start to finish the story. And much like with Hades 1, I'm going to be working on some of that in game content. Hades 2 actually has two bits of content with really challenging in game stuff. That's, of course, the Nightmare runs, which is the equivalent to the Heat runs in Hades 1. And there are the Chaos Trials, which may prove to be more difficult than the Nightmare runs because I can't, out level it or upgrade my weapons to make the game easier. The Chaos Trials are very specifically set up challenge runs. They control everything. They control your level, the weapons level, I think, the Nightmare level. They control what boons you start out with, and possibly it controls which gods show up in that specific run. It's very crafted and curated challenges, and I've already done a few of them, and I've attempted a couple of others over the course of playing Hades 2, and that's there. Some of them are difficult, and some of them are promised to be even more difficult. I know I haven't unlocked all of them yet, but I'm going to be working on that in Hades 2 as well. And then, of course, there's the elephant in the room there at the very bottom, Hollow Knight. Yes, I do plan to return to Hollow Knight. Not sure when I'm going to be returning to Hollow Knight, because I don't want to juggle too many games at the same time again. As I wrote over there, I'm possibly going to start up Hollow Knight again after I'm done with Hades, or at least when I'm finishing it up. It's possible that I won't be starting it until after I'm wrapping up, Hades 2. It really depends on how long it takes for them to release Hades 2, like the 1.0 full game release for Hades 2, and also whether or not I actually do end up waiting that long. I may start Hades 2 a bit before they do that. It just depends on things and what mood I'm in and stuff like that. So right now with Hades 2, the plan is to wait for 1.0, but I may not fully wait that long. As I noted at the bottom, it's possible all three may end up being played together, and that's why the arrows are the way they are. I don't believe that's going to happen, because if Hades 2 releases the 1.0 patch, I'm just going to delay my revisit to Hollow Knight. But again, it just depends on the timing of everything and how quickly I finish up Hades 1, the end game stuff there, and when I'm fully satisfied with that. And of course, while I don't have any text for it because I literally ran out of room, you can see the logo looming in the background behind all of the others. There is Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley will remain a secondary game, but it's possible once I finish up with Hades, Hades 2, and Hollow Knight, once I'm fully done with all of that stuff, Stardew Valley will have its time in the sun, and it will be the only game I'm playing for a bit. If both of the jobs are still preventing me from being able to stream regularly, like I don't really want to start a new game until the slate is pretty much clean. So like the next announcement video may not release until I have fully wrapped up Stardew Valley and I've done the like 6+ years I've promised to do in that game. But we'll see. If I can't stream regularly, I'm only going to be wanting to start smaller games. So I may like do a Metroidvania, play through that, and then another like indie game that doesn't take very long to do. That's the general game plan going forward. I don't plan to work two jobs slash get a work a full time job forever. It's just with several aspects of the current situation, both personally in my life and in the world at large, I'm expecting things to get a little rough. So I'm just wanting to try to save up a little bit and otherwise be more prepared for things and stuff. Like I've generally had some degree of savings pretty much my entire adult life, and part of the problem with this last winter is it ate up through that through those savings. I mean, it's great that I was able to survive thanks to them, but now that they're gone, I'm a little antsy. I'm I like to have a bit of quote unquote insurance in case things do go awry, and so like a large part of me getting a second job is for that, is to build up my savings again. So with my apologies to those of you who have really enjoyed watching Valphias TV on the regular, like life is life, and if I if I don't do this and then like the prices of everything go up thanks to the tariff games that our current administration is playing here in America, I may not be able to stream at all. Like I might end up homeless. So with all of that in mind, that is one of several reasons why I'm doing this. So again, I'm sorry to those of you who may not be able to catch all of the streams, especially if I have to do a decent percentage of streams like in the evening here U.S. times, and I know not everyone who watches in what is my morning can catch those. I just want to maintain a minimum level of activity. Alternatively, I could stick to this general plan for the morning streams and then maybe do something else for evening streams. Like I have thought about doing that, but at the same time, I don't want to add yet more games into the mix because if I'm not streaming regularly, what's the point of adding to the list? So there's always the VODs on YouTube if y'all want to make sure you don't miss anything. I know for some of you that doesn't sound as appealing as catching things live and being able to chat and interact with me, and I do understand that, but it's the best I got. So thank y'all for sitting through this announcement video. I'm hoping nothing changes too drastically again in the near future and I have to make another one of these. And until next time, this is Sir Valphius signing out. Y'all have a good one. Bye bye.